to let you know just where my heart is, to tell the truth and not pretend. All I made it clear, do I have to say it? It was always there, we just didn't see it. All I need is you and me and my world. Where the northern lights burst out in colors and the magic nights are best of us, and ain't no step you flower it up there. Hus av vitt skalverna, my home, my
Okay, good morning AIA. Oh, I think we can do much better. Good morning AIA. Yes. Okay, welcome to the session. My name is Elise from Center of Business Excellence, and I'll be your MC for today's session. Golden Seeds to Grow Lasting Success by Mr. Tony Gordon, one of the best known names in the world of financial services. I'm sure all of us are looking forward to hear him share with us how we can achieve growth and lasting success in our industry. So today's session is a hybrid nature, meaning to say we have some of you here physically with us and some of them attending virtually online. And all in all, we have about 800 attendees for the entire session. Okay, so just a gentle reminder to scan in the QR code for your attendance. You need to launch the iLearn app to be able to scan. Okay, so just do a little bit more warm up. Can you turn to your fellow colleague beside you and give them a fist bump and say, good to see you? Thank you so much. And for those of you who are online, welcome from AIA Alexandra Live here. Okay, thank you so much. So let's kickstart the first segment here. Let me present, Mr. Sean Goh, our Senior Director of Agencies from Alex. Sean, please.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking time joining us early this morning, and to all our leaders and consultants that are dialing in virtually, a warm welcome as well. Okay, today we are all very excited and delighted to have one of the best known iconic names in the world of financial services joining us this morning. A guru, a master, none other than Mr. Tony Gordon. If I really warmly welcome him. Thank you. Mr. Gordon has been serving the financial services industry for more than 50 years and has been a member of MDRT for more than 40 years. He's also a qualifier of the top of the table, again for more than 40 years. In 2001, he became the first president of MDRT from outside of North America, having had the unique distinction of serving both as chairman of MDRT TOT as well as president of UK Insurance Agents Association. I'm sure all of us are very eager and looking forward to hearing from Mr. Gordon on his topic of the day, Golden Seeds to Grow Lasting Success, and also sharing with us how to achieve MDRT status. Over at AIA Singapore, MDRT has always been a topic very close to all our hearts. I'm very happy to share that in this year, we have regained our top position as the #1 MDRT company. And this is the 8th times we did it. So thank you, everybody. As announced by our CDO Chung Wen in last week, Final Spring, we have also recently launched our first ever strategic AIA MDRT brand initiative with the powerful tagline, AIA MDRT Advice for Life. This initiative positions AIA MDRT members as being the best of the best, and I hope it encourages you to continue your vital role in delivering AIA purpose, that is to lead, to help millions of people live healthier, longer, better lives. As of end of September, I'm also very happy to report that we have close to 700 MDRT qualifiers, and also another over 1,000 of our colleagues are on track to qualify. I'm sure all of you will strive to have a strong financial year closing, and also, of course, achieve your MDRT status. With that, I want to wish everybody a very best in your Q4 closing, and I want to wish everybody a very pleasant day ahead. So with that, I'll pass the mic over back to the MC. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean. And now, the man that all of us has been waiting for, Mr. Tony Gordon. Mr. Tony Gordon is one of the best-known names in the world of financial services. And in 2001, he became the first president of MDRT from outside North America, having had the unique distinction of having served as chairman of MDRT's Top of the Table and as president of the UK Insurance Agents Association. As a speaker, he has spoken in 56 countries, and he's the author of the best-selling book, It Can Only Get Better, and Tony Road to Sales Success. This 53-year veteran of the financial services profession has been an MDRT member for 45 years and the top of the table member for 44 years. He was featured as one of the 12 outstanding life insurance salespeople in the book commissioned by MDRT entitled The Greatest Stories Ever Told. Now retired, or as Tony prefers to call it, rewired, he focuses his time mentoring other advisors, speaking, looking after his other business interests, and spoiling his 5 grandchildren. Now, over to Tony. Let's welcome Tony with a round of applause.
Well, thank you very much. It's a delight to be here. I hope you can all see out there in the wings. It's a pleasure. They promised me there'd be 1,000 people here this morning. I don't know how they've managed to squeeze 1,000 into this small room. But it's delightful. I have to tell you, I am very nervous today because this is the first time I've made a live presentation since before lockdown. And those of you who are watching this at home while you're drinking your coffee or playing with your children, shame on you for not being here in person. So I'm very nervous today, so I hope you'll be kind to me and give me a warm reception. It has been a strange 2.5, nearly 3 years. I was actually on the way to the airport to fly to Cyprus. Guys at the back, can we fix this? We okay there? Okay, we're okay. Is that okay? Okay. I was actually on the way to the airport to go to Cyprus to speak to an MDRT day there when the phone call came through, turn around, go home, and that was just before COVID and we were all locked down. So here we are now. Now I have to say to you that it's, 39 years since I first spoke at an MDRT meeting. Now that's longer than many of you have probably been alive, and certainly longer than any of you have been in the life insurance business. Notice I call it a business, not an industry. We don't go home with grease under our fingernails. This is a profession we're in, and if you find the word profession uncomfortable, then at least call it a business. But let's stop calling it an industry. It's because if we want our clients to see us as professionals, then we have to first see ourselves as professionals. So why don't we start calling it a profession? Anyway, there I was in 1983, invited to speak on the main platform at MDRT. And they said to me, if you speak well, you'll be in demand for the next 5 years. And here we are 39 years later, 56 countries later, and thank you for bringing me back to my favorite and most hospitable country, to Singapore. Hi. And most particularly, thank you for bringing me back to my favorite life insurance company. Hi. Because the ethos in AIA is better than the ethos any other insurance company that I've come across. In fact, so pleased am I, so happy am I to be here with you, okay, because about 5 years ago, I spoke at an AIA meeting in Macau. I don't know if any of you were there at that meeting. And I had a chat there with your then CEO. Now the poor man is trying to run HSBC Bank. I think he wishes he was still with AIA. But I've known him for years, and so we were chatting away, and he told me about what the plans were and what was happening in AIA, and I went home and bought shares in AIA. And despite the situation in the economy currently, my shares have doubled in price. So I feel that I have a vested interest in being here because if I can give you an idea which will help you do more business, then my shares will go up even more. Now, which actually brings me to an interesting idea. I know the company has a scheme whereby I think some of you can become shareholders in the company, but even if you are not yet shareholders in the company, next time you have a really good month, instead of going out and buying a new watch or a new something with a big logo on, which I know Singaporeans love, buy some shares in the company. Because the company makes a profit. Here's a surprise. The company makes a profit. So if you're shareholders, you can actually earn twice. You earn the commission for making the sale, and the company makes a profit. If you're a shareholder, you benefit from the shares going up in value. So I encourage everybody, don't buy jewelry, buy shares. Okay, now, that was a great introduction, wasn't it? 53 years in the business, 45 years an MDRT member, 44 years top of the table, past president of MDRT. Were you expecting somebody taller? Let me tell you what you don't know. My first month in the business, I had to make 43 sales presentations to make my first sale. My second month, I made 6 sales, and by the 30th of the month, they had all cancelled. After 3 months, I had a closing average of 1 in 19. After 4 years, I tried to quit the business. And the only reason I'm here today is that nobody would employ me. So I thought, seeing I couldn't get a job outside the business, I thought I'll change companies, because maybe going to a new company would give my career a new start. And there was a new insurance company opening up in my city, so I applied for a job there, and they put me through a personality test. And I went back for the second interview a week later, and there on the manager's desk was the test paper, and written across it, it said, "This man is not suited to a career in the sale of life insurance." It took me 4 more years to make it to NDRT, but then only 1 year to make it to the top of the table, and to continue to make it to the top of the table. So you think, well, he must be clever. Well, if I tell you that I left school at 16, that's not strictly correct. They told me, don't come back. I was placed in a category at school along with 2 other boys as boys who would never succeed at anything. Now you might think this is a terrible way to label a child. Well, let me tell you what happened to these 3 boys who would never succeed at anything. The first became a professional golfer. He won major championships. He made millions designing golf courses around the world. The second boy became a journalist, decided to try and write a book. He has over 40 bestsellers to his name, lives as a tax exile. Many of his books have been made into Hollywood movies. And the third boy who would never succeed at anything, he became the 74th president of the $1 Million Round Table. Now, why do I tell you this story? Because there is a moral to it. We should never allow others to sit in judgment on our potential. So, why am I here? Hopefully to be able to spread some golden seeds. What is a golden seed? It's something that it's an idea. Maybe it's a sales idea, maybe it's a thought, maybe it helps us to think differently, to plan differently. Because aren't we all looking for something? Perhaps just an idea that will help us do what we do a little more successfully? Who would agree with me? Well, let me give you the bad news. You see, if we want our financial circumstances to change, we have to do something differently. When we go home from this meeting, if we continue to do what we've always done, we'll continue to be where we've always been, to earn what we've always earned. If we want to change our financial circumstances, we have to do something differently. The success of this session does not depend on what I have to say. It depends on the golden seeds that you pick up, take home, plant, nourish, and ensure greater success for yourself. Am I talking about making big changes? No, sometimes the smallest changes can make the biggest difference. In the Beijing Olympic Games of however many years ago that was now, to everybody's amazement, the British cycling team won nearly every medal. Now, if I tell you they'd never won a gold medal before then, what made the change? They hired a new manager to the team, a new coach. And he said, we're going to look for the incremental benefits of marginal change. Oh, it sounds very good, doesn't it? The incremental benefits of marginal change. What did he mean? He meant we're going to look for tiny changes in every area of what we do. For us, it might be in our activity, it might be in our prospecting, it might be in the way we present our product, it might be in the way we close. Tiny, tiny little marginal changes that when we add them all together, we get an incremental benefit. I'll give you an example. In the Olympic Games in Rio of, I think it was 2016, there was an Englishman, a cyclist, who won the gold medal. Now, he'd never won a gold medal before. This was his first gold medal. And when they interviewed him, they said, well, how come the last Olympics you came 5th? This time you've come 1st. What changed? Was it your training? He said, no, he said the training was the same. Was it the food you ate? He said, well, no, I think the diet was about the same. Well, was the machinery the same? He said, no, he said, I was on the same bike as the last Olympics. Oh, he said, they increased the gearing by 2%. They made that big cogwheel 2% bigger. And it meant he'd get a 2% better result. Incremental benefit from marginal change. What could we change by 2% that would move us from where we are to winning gold medals? So, let me ask you a question. Do we know why we're in this business? Do we have a long-term goal, a career goal? Do we have something to look forward to? Do we have a purpose for being in this business? Or is it just looking for this month's commission? I would encourage you, when you have a quiet moment, sit and work out what you really want from this business in your futures. What is your career goal? Your long-term goal? What do I want to achieve for myself, for my family, for the years that I'm going to be in this business? We need a clear picture of our reason for being here. Let me share with you why goals are so important. Let me share with you a story, if I may. I have 5 grandchildren. I know what you're thinking. He's much too young to be a grandfather. Well, I have 5 of them. Now, when my oldest, she's now 20 years of age and in her last year at university, but when she was 5 years old, I went to watch her first school sports day. Now, in my country, every school, the end of the summer term, they have a sports day. All the kids run races against each other. This was my granddaughter Emmy's first school sports day. You have to picture this. School teachers surrounded by these beautiful little girls. And she says, when I say go, I want you to run as fast as you can. Are you ready? Are you set? Go! And they scattered in every direction. She hadn't told them to go that way. They didn't have a goal. The great artist Vincent van Gogh said, first I dream my paintings and then I paint my dreams. Do we have a dream? Do we have a goal, a career goal, a vision of what we hope to achieve for ourselves and our families? Anybody here have a sat-nav, a GPS in their car or on their phone? What's the first question the GPS asks you? Where you want to go, your destination. Our long-term goal, our career goal is our destination. Only when we input the destination will the machine plan the route. Only when we input the destination into here can we start to plan the route. What do I have to do each year to reach my destination? What do I have to do each month? What do I have to do each week? And yes, if we have the courage, what do I have to do each day that if I repeat it day after day will take me to my destination? Failure or success is something we practice on a daily basis. Setting daily goals gives us a sense of urgency to do now, today, what needs to be done today, not put it off till tomorrow. Set daily goals. Now, it takes courage to set daily goals. Most people have a goal for the year. We only face failure once a year. It's the 31st of December. If I can remember where I put the piece of paper with my goal written on, I'll know if I've succeeded or failed this year. Set a daily goal. We have to go home every day, face ourselves in the mirror, answer the question, did I succeed or did I fail today? It takes courage. But I can give you a guarantee. Those who have the courage to set daily goals will always, always be more successful than those who don't. Set daily goals. And don't fear failure, folks. If we fail to reach a goal, this isn't failing. It's when we don't make progress we fail. If you're making MDRT today and you want to make core to the table, that's 3 times MDRT. Oh no, woe is me, you only make twice MDRT this year. That isn't failing, you just doubled your income. Falling isn't failing, we only fail when we don't get up again. So, if we have a vision, now we need action. For vision without action is just daydreaming. And for us, our action is in our activity, the number of appointments we make. Let me ask you a question, and please be honest with me. Who last month did not make as many sales appointments as we should have made? Well, thank you for your honesty. Let me ask you another question. Whose commission check last month was less than you would like it to be? Oh, it's the same hands. Is this a coincidence? Of course not. For us, the gods of selling will always smile most kindly on those of us who make the calls. Activity, it's the foundation of our business. My first day in the business, I said to my manager, I said, what do I have to do to guarantee I succeed? He said, make 15 appointments a week. I said, what if I only make 14 appointments? He said, with 14 appointments, you might succeed. With 15, I'll guarantee it. I went through my first 25 years in the business before I had the courage to make less than 15 appointments in a week. Now, I'm not telling you how many appointments you should make. That's for you to decide. But whatever decision you make, keep it. It becomes your goal. Short-term goals by activity, longer-term goals by results. But here's a suggestion for you. Make one more appointment each week. I mean, is this a big deal? Make one more appointment each week. That's 50 more appointments for the year. 40 of them will be there. 10, maybe 15 of them will buy from you. If your average commission is $1,000 a sale, and most of you it's probably bigger than that, you're going to make an extra $15,000 next year from one more appointment each week. Try this. When you go home this evening and your beloved says, did you get any ideas today? Tell them the speaker said, darling, if I make just one more appointment each week, you can have an extra $15,000 to spend next year. What do you think, darling? And what do you think your darling will say? I know what my darling would say. Make 2. We succeed for many reasons, but we only fail to reach our goals for one: lack of discipline. The difference between mediocrity and success is all down to our self-discipline. I don't believe there are any extraordinary people in our business, but there are some ordinary people who've disciplined themselves to achieve extraordinary results. Excellence is just doing things right, doing simple things right, day after day. Look, millionaires are not queuing up for jobs selling life insurance. But some of the people who come into the life insurance business through self-discipline become millionaires. And self-discipline is like a muscle. The more we train it, the stronger it becomes. I was saying I'm full of Olympic stories today. I was reading a couple of weeks ago an interview with Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is the greatest Olympian of all time. He has 28 Olympic medals. The swimmer, 23 of them are gold medals. I mean, 23 gold medals. It's just nobody will ever be able to compete with this. And in the interview, he was asked what makes the difference. And he said to the interviewer, I went for 5 years training 7 days a week. 5 years training 7 days a week. He said, my competitors only trained 6 days a week. That gave me an extra 260 days of training over my nearest competitor. And can we remember who the second best swimmer in the world ever was? Of course not. We only think of Michael Phelps. Now, I'm not suggesting we should work 7 days a week. What I am suggesting is we should do what we say to ourselves we're going to do. Work with discipline. Okay. Now, let me share a story with you, if I may. How am I doing, by the way, for somebody who hasn't made a speech for 3 years? Okay. Okay. That's just to check who's awake, by the way. Okay. I'll tell you about one of my clients. Man from a very, very humble background. This is a man who used to deliver milk on the doorstep. I don't know if that ever happened in Singapore, but in the UK, you can still actually get your milk delivered on the doorstep. It's about as humble an occupation as it's possible to get. And he started a business and he built a big business. He sold it for multiple millions. He had multiple millions invested with me in his retirement fund. And I would visit him every year and he'd sit in his big office behind a big desk, and he was only a little guy, behind a big desk, and on his desk he would only ever have one piece of paper. And I asked him on one occasion, I said, what do you have on that piece of paper? And very shyly he said, well, Tony, he said, it's the secret of my success. I said, well, share it with me. And he said, well, it's very simple. I said, well, share it. And he said, well, before I go home every day, I make a list of what I intend to do tomorrow. And when I come in the morning, I start at the top of the list and work through. So I asked him the obvious question. What happens on those days you don't get to the bottom of your list? He said, you weren't listening, Tony. He said, some days I go home early and some days I have to work late. But I finish what's on my list. Discipline, discipline, discipline. And folks, anybody here ever have a bad day? Ever have one of those days when not only did the great hope for the month not buy from you, but he wasn't even there when you called? That ever happened to any of you? Yeah, of course it does. Never go home on a negative. On those days when everything goes wrong, let's think about it, picture this. On those days when everything goes wrong, we go home, our much beloved says, how was your day, darling? We say it was terrible. Everything went wrong. I think I'm in the wrong business. And our beloved says, well, I'll support whatever decisions you make. It's your career. By the time we've been to bed and slept on this, we are convinced we're in the wrong business. On those days when everything goes wrong, never go home on a negative thought. Go back to the office, pick up the telephone, make calls until somebody says yes to an appointment. It doesn't have to be an appointment that day, an appointment next day, next week. But something that makes us feel we have moved our career a little step forward. Now we go home and our much beloved says, well, darling, how was your day? Now we say, well, it was disappointing. But at least I finished on a positive note. Never go home on a negative. Now, here is a simple idea that can have the most dramatic effect on an individual's production. Oh, maybe you don't want this idea. Stop telling people what they need. Start asking them what they want. When we stop telling people what they need and start asking them what they want, it repositions us. When we tell somebody what they need, we are selling to them. When we find out what they want, we're helping them to buy. repositions us. It's a tiny, tiny little change. But it's a tiny change that can be worth millions to us. You see, what people want will always be greater than just their needs. Let me illustrate it for you. If I don't make it home from this meeting, my family do not need the homes we own or the cars we drive. What our clients and prospects want for themselves and their families will always be greater than just their needs. Look, my wife and I live in a house with 5 reception rooms and 5 bedrooms. A comfortable family home, but there's now only 2 of us living there. When my younger daughter left home, I said to my wife, we don't need this big house anymore. Why don't we downsize to something more practical? And she said, we may not need this, but this is where I want to live. She also said, you can go if you want to, but I'm staying. Right. Look, we have 3 cars outside the house. A big one, a medium-sized one, and a small one for 2 people. Why? It's what we want. What clients and prospects want for themselves, their families, their businesses will always be greater than just their needs. Right. You see, our clients don't buy because they understand. They buy because they feel understood. And when we identify what it is they want for themselves, their families, their businesses, then they start to feel understood. Our closing average goes up, our average case size goes up, everything improves. Now, how to do it? It's very simple. It's very simple. Tell me, what do you want for your family in the event of your untimely death? What do you want for yourself in the event of diagnosis of a life-threatening illness? What do you want as income when you don't want to work anymore? This capital you've got in the bank, what do you want from your capital? Is this complicated? No. It's the easiest thing in the world. I tell you, I keep saying this is a young man. He's no longer a young man. He was when I first told this story. He qualified for the top of the table, comes from my country. And so he arrived at his first top of the table meeting. Now, I'd never met him before. But coming from my country, I thought I'd better meet him and introduce myself. I said, fantastic, well done. Tell me, what did you do to qualify? And he said, Tony, I took your advice. I said, we've never met before. He said, I sat at the back of a meeting. And you told us, stop telling people what they need. Start asking what they want. He said, it was the only change I made, and my business doubled. The only change he made, and his business doubled. Try it. Try it. Yeah, do you know what I would do if I could? Do you know what a swear box is? You know, it's like a charity box, and every time somebody in the family swears, they have to put some money in the swear box. Okay, well, I would do the same. Every time we tell somebody what they need, we should put some money in the charity box. We should be penalized. Right? Ask them what they want. Okay. Right. And we have to have the courage to think bigger. Bigger does not mean more complicated, by the way. Bigger simply means bigger. Does anybody here ski? I know for a country that never sees snow, that's a strange question, but you'd be amazed. I meet crazy people everywhere I go. Anybody here like to ski? Oh, good. Oh, okay, yeah, there's one crazy one. Okay, the rest of you are all sane. I think skiing is crazy. You pay money, you have a slow ride up to the top of the mountain, you stick polished pieces of wood on your feet. 5 minutes later, if you haven't broken something, right, 5 minutes later, you're at the bottom of the mountain, pay again and go round it. I see no sense in it. But here is a question that we should all be able to answer. When people ski, do they ski downhill or do they ski uphill? Answer, please. Downhill. Why? Because it's easier to ski downhill than it is to ski uphill. What has this got to do with making our sails bigger? Everything. When you go to a client with an illustration, make it an illustration for the maximum sum assured, for the biggest possible premium, for all of their investments, for all of their savings. They will ski down to where they're comfortable. But if you take an illustration for a smaller amount, a smaller premium, a smaller sum assured, they will never ski uphill. Remember this when you're planning an illustration for a client. Start at the top of the mountain. They'll ski down to where they're comfortable. Now, not everybody buys. Sometimes we get rejected. Now, I don't like rejection any more now than I did 53 years ago when I started, but I get unbelievably well paid for taking it. Anybody ever say to you, I don't believe in life insurance? Do they ever say that in Singapore? I don't believe in life insurance. What are you going to say to them? You don't have to believe in life insurance. It's not a religion. Life insurance is simply risk management. We pass the risk from families or businesses who cannot afford it to the insurance company who can afford it. I would say to a prospect, out of every 100 people of your age, one of you will die this year. And the insurance company does not care if it's you, because the other 99 are still paying their premiums. They've only lost 1%. But if it is you, the loss to your family, the loss to your business is 100%. It's just risk management. Let's transfer the risk from your family who can't afford it to the insurance company who can afford it. Life insurance is not a miracle. There's nothing miraculous about the life insurance product. It simply replaces the money we want but have not yet had the chance to accumulate. If you want $1 million for your retirement, have you got $1 million? No, then take my plan. Start to save, start to invest. When you get the $1 million of your own, you can throw my insurance away. Life insurance simply replaces the money we want and have not yet had the opportunity to accumulate. Does this stuff make sense, folks? It makes sense to clients when we put it this way as well. Okay. Now, people often ask me, well, how did you qualify for MDRT? Well, I have to tell you, because there's a story here of potential that must always have been there, potential that must exist in this room that has not yet found a way to release itself. I'd been in the business for 8 years. I was writing about 2/3 of MDRT. I actually believed, with my fantastic educational background, that this was where I was going to be for the rest of my working life. And we had a modest home and 2 little children and you know, running a couple of second-hand cars and this okay. I thought, well, this is going to be my life. And somebody invited me to come to a meeting and a speaker talked about MDRT. I said, what is this MDRT? They said it's a club for the best people in the business. I said, well, if this is where I'm going to be for the next 40 years, I better join this club, if only for self-respect. How do I join? They told me what I had to do. I said, well, I can't do that much. They said, yes, break it down. Break it down. Well, what's the qualification for MDRT in Singapore? Somebody give me a number. 76,000. Okay, so it's 7,000 a month. 7,000 a month. It's whatever that is. 1,700 a week. It's about $400 a day. And my average sale was more than $400. And I thought, if I could make an average sale every day for 4 days a week, keeping Friday for clearing up, if I could just do that, then maybe I could qualify for this exclusive club. What do I have to do to make a sale every day? Now, this is back then 40 odd years ago, if I make 4 appointments a day, 3 of them will be there. 1 of them will buy from me. Can I make 4 appointments tomorrow? And 4 appointments the next day? 4 appointments the day after that? Yes, I could. I'd been making 15 appointments for years. But I hadn't been thinking about daily goals. The only change I made to qualify for MDRT was I started to set daily goals. It gave me a sense of urgency, which translates, whether deliberately or not, to our prospects. My business doubled. And all I did was serving the same clients. And all I did was start to set daily goals. So I thought, this is great. Now I'm a big hitter. I've just doubled my income in the space of a year. We better start thinking about moving house and you know, bigger cars and what's my goal going to be for next year? So I thought, okay, well, I'll do aim for a 25% uplift. The strength of daily goals, they have a power to them. The strength of those daily goals, by the time it came round to June, getting ready to go to the annual meeting, I was ahead of my target. I thought, well, I'm going to coast the second half of the year. Now, let's just backtrack a moment, because when I got to the end of that year and I realized I'd qualified, I remember going home and saying to Eve, my wife, busy with our 2 little baby girls then, and I said to her, darling, I've qualified for MDRT. And she said, oh, yes. I said, yeah, darling, I can go to the MDRT annual meeting. She said, oh, yes. I said, darling, the annual meeting's in Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm going to Hawaii. And she said, oh, no. We are going to Hawaii. It cost me 20% of my previous year's income to get to my first MDRT meeting. But we go to an MDRT meeting is not a cost. It is an investment in our careers. So I went to my first meeting, well up on my target for that year. And in Honolulu, the hotels are on the beach and the convention center's downtown. So MDRT sent buses around the hotels picking up the delegates. And the first morning, I got on the bus and there was a seat next to some ugly American. I didn't know he was American, but he was certainly ugly. So I took that seat. And like all very friendly Americans, I had the green badge of the first timer. He congratulated me on qualifying. He asked me where I was from. And he had this white ribbon on his badge. It said top of the table. I said, what's this white ribbon for? And he said, it's top of the table. I said, what's top of the table? Oh, he said, it's a club inside the club. I said, oh gosh. I said, he said, yeah. He said, it's the top producers. I said, it's wonderful. I said, well, if there's a club inside the club, if this is how I'm going to spend the next 40 years of my life, if only for self-respect, I should qualify. What do I have to do to qualify? He said, 6 times MDRT. I said, I said, it's taken me 8 years to get here once. And then I thought, I've invested so much in getting to this meeting, I'll invest a little bit more. I said, can I buy you lunch when the morning program's over? He said, yes. And what I learned from him was worth the investment. You see, when he was explaining to me about qualifying for top of the table, and I said to him, look, I could never do that. I don't work in that kind of marketplace. I asked him, I said, how many sales did you make to make top of the table? He said, 36. I asked him this last year. I said, how many sales did you make, Richard, last year? He said, 12 to make top of the table. Now, this is a different world to the world I lived in. I said I could never do that, and he prodded me in the chest whilst he was eating my burger at lunchtime, and he said to me, we can achieve anything we want to achieve in this business if we just have the courage to believe we can achieve it. And I learned the second real key to success. The first is self-discipline, and the second is self-belief. Is this all it takes? If I just believe I can do it? Now, I've always felt that it's better to try and not succeed than not to try. I went home from that first meeting and I tore up all of my goals, made new goals to make the top of the table. It took 360 sales. And just about on New Year's Eve, I made the 360th. And by this much, scraped into the top of the table. Just by adjusting my self-belief. Same desk, same chair, same company, same clients, same staff. The only thing that changed was my belief in what I could achieve. It is our self-belief that sets the parameters for our achievements. Change our self-belief and we change our results. Okay. The potential must always have been there, of course. It just needed somebody or something to prod me to release that potential. How much unreleased potential is sitting in this room and at home in your kitchens, those of you who are watching this on Zoom. How much unreleased potential exists in all of us. If only somebody could plant a golden seed that we could nurture, that would blossom to be all we can be. You know, the great thing about MDRT is when we go to the MDRT annual meeting, we actually see what we can become because we meet other people who have been where we are today and have progressed from there. Okay. And do we believe in what we sell? The last death claim I paid was on a 48-year-old husband, father of 2. He was a very popular man. There were over 400 people at his funeral, and they were all bringing condolences. Only one bringing money for the family, me. So let's never, ever underrate what we do for our clients. Because no one will ever place a higher value on us than we place upon ourselves. So now I'm going to tell you another story. 25 years ago, I met an exceptional lady called Mary Peters. Mary's very famous in my country because in 1972 she won the gold medal at the Olympics and the women's heptathlon. 7 events over 2 days. But this is the story she told me. In 1968, she was selected to represent my country at the Olympics. Now, Mary thought this was the pinnacle of her athletics career. What greater honor could there be than being invited to represent her country? She arrived at the Olympics. In the Olympic Village, she was sharing a room with 2 other athletes. The 2 other athletes opened their suitcases, took out of their suitcases a hammer and a nail, and hammered the nail into the wall above their beds. Mary said, "Why are you doing this?" They said, "To hang our medals from." And one won gold, the other won bronze, and Mary went home a wiser girl, trained hard. 4 years later, 1972, again she was selected to represent my country. Only this time, she didn't feel being selected would be the pinnacle of success. She took her own hammer and her own nail, and because now she believed she could win, she took home the gold medal. It is our self-belief which sets the parameters for our achievements. Now, there's a guy called Chris Hoy. He's won 6 gold medals, an Englishman. And he was interviewed on television and he said, "What is it makes the difference? What makes you consistently a winner?" And he said, at the top of any sport, of any discipline, the gold medal could go to any one of 4 or 5 or 6 competitors. We're all equally fit, equally strong. On the day, it goes to the one who most believes they're worth it. Now, the interesting thing is, in the Olympics, there can only ever be one winner. In our business, we can all be winners. There is room on the winner's podium for all of us. But I tell you, the medals for making MDRT, making core to the table, making top of the table, always go to those with the greatest self-belief. Okay. So, I hope I've planted a few golden seeds for you all this morning. And please don't say that I didn't motivate you. It was not my responsibility today to motivate you. My responsibility today when I woke up in that hotel room was to motivate me. If we take responsibility for our own motivation, we take responsibility for our own success. Over 400 years ago, the philosopher Francis Bacon wrote these words: "The measure of a person's fortune lies in their own hands. If it is to be, it's up to me. The measure of our success rests with us." So, what are you going to tell your beloved when you go home at the end of today? You say, "Well, I went to this meeting." Or those of you who are still there with your beloveds at home, what are you going to tell them when they say, "Well, was it interesting?" You could tell them that you met somebody who needed 43 sales appointments to make their first sale, who tried to quit the business after 4 years, but went on to make the top of the table year after year after year, became president of MDRT, and they'll say, yes, but did he have a message? You can tell them my message is very simple. Tell them I said, if I can do it, so can you. If I can do it, so can you. C'est ça. Okay, well, I'm told we have questions. There's a big clock here, I've only just noticed it. Okay, yes, Venka, my friend.
Appointment meetings, commissions and sales and commissions.
Say that again?
Number of appointments, number of meetings to get the goal. Specifically, with every one of us.
What do you want? Be more specific. You want me to, you're talking about statistics?
Yeah, just to get to your goal. For example, someone wants to hit MDRT now.
Okay,
Yeah,
well that's
then-
very simple, but I need the flip
Whiteboard,
chart
yeah.
from that. So if my workers could bring the flip chart into position, please. Okay, now we're done with the, do you mind, anybody mind? It's sort of warm up here. Who's the most senior person in the room? Who's the most senior person? Okay, would you mind having this pressed for me? By the way, my wallet is not in the jacket. Okay, I think, Venka, this is what you're asking me about. I don't want anybody here to get the wrong impression. I am not a geek about numbers. But who here has ever visited a lawyer? Ever? Okay. Did the lawyer know how much they charge per hour? Of course. Who here uses an accountant? Does the accountant know how much they charge per hour? Do they know the value of their time? Yes. Do we know the value of our time? Well, last month I did X. No. What's the value of our time? What I'm about to show you, in my opinion, is key to succeeding. Even for those of us who hate looking at numbers, it's worth doing this. Every week, I suggest that you look at the number of appointments try to write this in English. The number of appointments. How many appointments did we make? The second figure is the number of meetings. What's the difference between a meeting and an appointment? Sometimes the appointment isn't there. Sometimes they cancel nicely. Tony, ever so sorry, I can't keep our appointment. Can we rearrange it, please? And sometimes they cancel not so nicely. Is he in? No, and he told you he's not interested. There is a percentage that we lose between the two. What is it? Is it 7 or 8%? Is it 27 or 28%? Important we know, because if we know what number of, if you come to me and you say, Tony, I'm losing 30% of my appointments, I can give you some ideas to reduce that loss. But if I don't know and you don't know what that loss is, I can't help you. Number of cases. Cases, sales, call them what you like. What's the definition of a sale? It is not a completed proposal form. It is the successful result of a meeting. You come to me, I buy a policy, my wife says, can I have one? She buys a policy. That's one sale. Successful result of a meeting. On the other hand, if my wife says, look, I don't want my husband knowing what I'm doing, so can you come back and have an appointment with me, please? Then that's a separate sale because it required a separate meeting. There is a percentage here that we close. Important that we know it. And we want to know the amount of commission. Is this what you're asking me, Venka? Right, okay, I'm on the right track. Now, why is all this important? Because once we know this, we know the value of each appointment, the value of each meeting, the value of each sale. Now, once we know that, then whatever your goal is for next year, this will tell you exactly what you have to do in terms of meetings, appointments, in order to achieve the goal. It takes all the hope and uncertainty out of life. Because once you know what the value is of each appointment and of each meeting, all you've got to do is make the necessary number of appointments. Now, you can be improving this loss here, you can be improving this closing average here, we can be improving the average commission per sale, but whilst those are the marginal changes that I talked about before. But once we know the value of each appointment, each meeting, the value of each sale, then it takes all the uncertainty out of it. So if you then discover, gosh, that means if I'm going to make top of the table, I've got to have 400 appointments next year. Is that 400 a possibility? And then you tell me, well, I only work 6 months of the year, the rest of the time I'm on holiday, or I spend 4 days a week in management, I only have 1 day a week. Then you better revise your goals so that they become achievable, hard to reach. The poet Robert Browning said, over a man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what is heaven for? Okay, but what this does is it allows us to calculate precisely what our time is worth and exactly what we have to do. And then you just break that down to what do I need to be doing each day, each week, each month, to make it come true. But you've got to know that. Now, is this complicated? Every week, Friday before going home, I'd have a look. I'd say, okay, well, I had 15 appointments, 12 of them were there. So it would look like this. I had my 15 and 12 of them got kept, right? And I made 5 sales, and for whatever, 20,000, whatever, or whatever the number is, 10, whatever number you want to put on that, right? Now, how long does that take? To look at your diary. By the way, who here keeps a paper diary? Yes, good man. I'll tell you why in a moment. Remind me to tell you why paper diary is important. Okay? All right. 1 minute. Put that on the bottom of the page of the diary. Next week, do the same again for that week. The end of the month, add them up. So far, you've taken about 4 minutes in the whole month to do this. The end of 3 months, The end of 3 months, you add the 3 months together. Now you calculate, you look at the values. You do that the following 3 months, the end of the year, you add them all together and you get your values for the year. You would be amazed how motivational it is when you look and you say, hey, everything's gone up this year. I don't know why. I didn't think I was doing anything differently, but my average case has gone up, or my closing average has improved, or what I call my blowout, the blowout rate of appointments has got better. To be able to look and see is the most motivational thing we can ever do. Let me tell you, it beats listening to me on this stage when we can actually look and see our own improvement in numbers on the page. It is worth the investment of 5 minutes a month to do it. Even if you're not inclined, like I'm not inclined to be studying numbers. Now, what did you have to remind me about? Paper diary. I'll tell you why a paper diary is extremely useful. I know you're all very, very into, it'll be on your telephone and everything else. You picture this. You're with a prospect, okay? You're making the next appointment, hopefully to come back and close the sale. And you take out your telephone and you say, oh yeah, I can see you on Wednesday afternoon at 3. Beep, 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 beep. Right. Or you take out your paper diary and you put it on the table in front of your prospect, and you take your pen and you write their name in it, and they see their name being written down. When they see their name being written down for next Wednesday afternoon, do you think that carries just a fraction more weight than you going beep, 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 beep? You see, we never know what makes the sale. It isn't one big thing. It's a lot of little things that make the sale. So it's worth actually carrying a paper diary, if only so you can see the whole week at a glance. But apart from that, your client sees his name or her name being written in your diary. And it's the writing in that carries more weight than just tapping the buttons. Okay, any other questions? Sir? Quick, bring the lollipop to the man.
Thank you. My name is Jack.
Jack, yes. I just think about this. All those who are sitting at home in your kitchens, you're missing the opportunity to ask the questions. Jack.
I really like the analogy that you give about we are just trying to transfer the risk, so that to give the money that you have not have time to make. So there's an objection that I have come across that say that I have so many multiple or millions already. What's the objective that you want to arrange a life insurance for me?
I've got so many millions, why do I need the life insurance? Yeah, listen, is that an objection or is it a condition?
Perhaps they really want a reason to do it.
Okay, let's go right back to first basics. The best way to remove objections, because really, objections all add up to one thing. Should I trust this person? They don't actually say you're not trustworthy, okay? But the hardest decision any of us ever make is the decision to trust somebody. You know, we were told as kids, girls, weren't you told don't talk to strange men? You know, boys, weren't you told don't talk to strange women? I'm 76 years of age. I'm living in hope that one day a strange woman will want to talk to me. We're told don't trust, don't trust, don't trust. This is why referrals are so important, because with referrals there is barely this trust barrier. So how do we reduce this trust barrier? We spend more time getting to know our prospect. We are not going to sell a policy. We are going to see if we have something that will help the client achieve their goals, increase their security. So it's the attitude we take with us that makes the difference. Now, when we're new in the business, we rush. They say that there are 3 stages in the life insurance salesperson's career. The first stage is starry-eyed enthusiasm. I'm so enthusiastic about this new job that enthusiasm spills over and my friends can't help but buy from me. And then we move into sophisticated confusion, where we have to start proving to every prospect that we actually know what we're talking about, to the point where we blind them with science. Then hopefully we'll reach the third step, which is mature simplicity, where we can judge just the right amount of information they need in order to make the decision. So Jack, I think the answer to your question lies in our attitude when we go to the client. And our attitude when we go to meet a new prospect should always be the reason for meeting you is for me to see if there is anything that we do that can in any way help you achieve what you're trying to achieve for your family, for your business, with your investments. Not, I want to sell you a policy. Right? How can I help you? Tell me about your success. How did you build your business? 2 questions to ask a business owner. First question, how did you get to where you are today? How have you achieved your success? People could take an hour to answer that because nobody else has ever asked them. The second question is, where do you want to see your business go in the future? That's where the sale is. So let's go back to your prospect, Jack. What does he want from his money to give him? Well, I'm worth all of these millions and it's all invested in real estate and, there's 100 different properties and it all produces rent. There's enough diversification there, so if I die, there's no estate tax in Singapore. If I die, as long as 90 of the properties are occupied, I can afford to have 10% not, and they won't have to sell the house and move. What does he need life insurance for? Maybe that's not what he needs. On the other hand, maybe a little bit of liquidity would help. So what you've got to do, Jack, is you've got to find out what he wants. And when you know what he wants, can we help him achieve it? Not everybody is a prospect. And the best thing to do if somebody is genuinely not a prospect is acknowledge that and then use them for referrals. Okay, but here's something that you could try. You should ask him, have you ever been on a cruise? Now, this doesn't matter whether the answer is yes or no. Have you ever been on a cruise? Yes or no. Let's suppose your wife says, darling, I hope you haven't forgotten. Or your husband says, darling, I hope you haven't forgotten, it's our wedding anniversary coming up. I've booked us to go on a cruise. Okay, you say where we're going and you'd take the cruise, wouldn't you? Yes, of course you would. Because cruise ships, there's no risk. And just when you're going on board, you take a walk around the deck and you see all those little lifeboats. What are they there for? Just in case. Just in case. So, look, you're a great success. You're worth all of these millions. But just in case, why don't you let the company create a lifeboat for you? Just in case. Okay, next question. Okay. This means it's lunchtime for me. Okay, is that it? Is that the last question? Okay, then all that leaves for me to... Oh, someone got a question? Oh.
What do you think is the greatest motivation?
Wait.
What do you think was the greatest motivation that pushed you from MDRT to TOT?
What was the motivation that pushed me from MDRT to TOT? I took a risk in believing that I was as good as the ugly bloke who has become a good friend of mine, I have to say, after 45 years, or over 45 years. But I just took a risk. And the risk I took was in being disappointed. Could I believe that I was as good as him? And what actually clinched it for me was I went to a focus session later in the MDRT meeting, and there was another top of the table member as a speaker. And a question was put to him, what's your goal for the year? And he said, my goal is to stay in the top of the table, even if I have to keep writing over 300 cases every year. And I thought, he's more like me than the guy who did it with 36 cases. I could identify with this guy. If I just have the courage to believe, will that do it? And of course it takes a risk because we risk failure. But it's better to try and not succeed than not to try. And in my case, it worked. So what did I do? I just believed. I discovered the power of daily goals. That got me to MDRT. I wasn't going to give that up. As that doubled my business, now it was a case of, do I have the courage to believe? Now, I can't guarantee that everybody who says, well, I believe I'm good enough to make top of the table is going to make it. But what it will do is it will test our potential. Because one thing I'm certain of, we are not using up all of our potential. How much more potential any of us have, I don't know, but how can we find it out? By having the courage to believe and stretching ourselves. I hope that answers your question. Okay, gentleman there.
What's the best way to get referrals, and is there a specific time when you ask for it from a client?
Okay, this tells us we only have 21 minutes left. Firstly, getting referrals is an attitude of mind. Look, I was trained possibly the way you folks have been trained. That's the sales process. That's the beginning. You get a name, you make a call, you hope you get an appointment, a second time you make a sale. You end it when you made a sale. This is how we were trained. Wrong. You may never invite me back, if I keep saying that. Right. This is the process. It's a cycle. So you get a name, and you make that first appointment, you hope, and maybe the second appointment, and you get a sale, and you ask for a name. It's a continuous cycle, and if you leave any step off that cycle, we haven't been doing our job. Asking for referrals is not an afterthought. It is an essential part of the job. You're one of the agents in my agency. You come in, you've just made the biggest sale you've ever made. I would slap you on the back, I would congratulate you, and I would ask you, how many referrals you got? So the way to picture it is this: if that's the sales cycle, would you not ask for the check or the bank authority to be signed? No, because that's essential to make the sale. Or the client, the prospect, to sign the application form? No, because there's no sale until we've done that. Well, we haven't done our job either if we haven't asked for referrals. So firstly, we've got to think of it as a continuous process. When we start to think of it as a continuous process, it takes on a completely different mindset. Now, however, I think you want to know more than that. You want to know how to do it. So here's some suggestions. Number one, when you first meet the prospect, when you first sit down with your prospect, is the time to plant the seed. And this is what I would say to the prospect. I would tell them about, I'm with AIA, we are certainly Asia's largest financial services organization. We look after billions of dollars of assets for all of our clients. But there's something I'd like to tell you about people who do my job. You see, most people in financial services spend most of their time looking for new clients. It leaves very little time to look after the clients they have. We're the opposite. We spend most of our time looking after our clients, very little of our time looking for new clients. Now, you may wonder how we're able to do this. It's very simple. We only take on as clients people to whom we are personally introduced, to whom we personally referred. But enough about my business. What I'd like to do is, if I may, ask you some questions about yourself or your business in confidence. And then you move into your soft facts, your soft fact questions. Now, what have we just done? Two things. Remember I said about 10 minutes ago, we never know quite what makes the sale. It's a lot of little things. Maybe the fact that I told him we're different from everybody else might just tip the balance in our favor. But more important than that, I've planted the seed in his mind. Now, It might be a week or 2 weeks later, I have made the sale. The business is completed. I have put it in my briefcase. And now I say, you remember when we first met a couple of weeks ago? And I told you there is a difference between us and other people in the financial services world. That most people who do my job spend most of the time looking for new clients. Leaves very little time to look after the clients they have. You'll remember, I said that we're the opposite. We spend most of our time looking after our clients. We spend very little of our time looking for new clients. And you will remember that I said the reason we're able to do this is we only take on as clients. Or if this person has come from a cold call, you say we normally only take on as a client. People to whom we're personally introduced, personally referred. And I'm really only interested in meeting people that I can get on well with in the same way that you and I are getting on well together. So Sean, who do you know? Oh, and I beg your pardon, and I'd say, and I'm particularly interested in meeting people who, and this is the point where we have to tell our new client what sort of people we want to be referred to. I'm particularly interested in meeting people who run their own small business. Complain about paying tax. They're always good prospects. Are family people, are responsible people like you. Pay them a little compliment. So Sean, who do you know who would fall into that character? Jenny. Is that you? Are you Jenny? Okay, right. Now, of course, Sean might say, well, Jenny, but I don't want you to tell her does this ever happen here? They said, don't tell her I mentioned it to you. Now, Sean, you've just done business with me, so I know there's an element of trust. I've been doing this job a long time, and I've never, ever had a client embarrassed because they referred, introduced a friend or acquaintance to me. I'll give you a guarantee you won't be the first. But without mentioning your name, I wouldn't want to call. Is that okay? Right. He nodded his head. He said, yes. Okay, now, Jenny, I'm going to call you. It's Tony Gordon here. Does my name ring a bell? No, she says. Listen, look, watch my face. I'll tell you what to say, okay? Okay. Okay. Meanwhile, you be thinking about as many objections as you can. Okay? Does my name ring a bell? No, she says. Oh, dear, I am embarrassed. You know, Sean, yeah. Yes, she says. He's been a client of mine for some time. Some time might be 3 days or 3 months or 3 years. He's been a client of mine for some. And when I was chatting with him the other day, he mentioned your name to me. In fact, he spoke very highly of you. He seems to think that one or two of the things we do, Jenny, might be of value to you. Now, I don't know if there is anything we do that's of the slightest interest to you. But what I would like to do is call and introduce myself to you, spend just 15 or 20 minutes. I'll run through the things we do and you can tell me if there's anything there of interest. Now, I'll be in your neighborhood on Monday morning at 10, or would you prefer Wednesday afternoon at 2? Now, what's the most important thing that I just said? Yeah, Monday or Wednesday. I closed the sale. It doesn't work unless we close. Okay, which is better for you, Monday or Wednesday? What's it all about? Give her the microphone. Where's the microphone? Okay, come on. Poor thing's a victim here and she can't even answer back. Oh, okay.
Not free.
What's it all about? I'm giving you the, come on. What's it all about? Okay. Oh, of course. Sean hasn't had the opportunity to mention me to you. We're in the financial business, Jenny. We advise our clients on ideas for putting money to work. Some of them are very tax efficient. I'm sure, like all of my clients, Jenny, you would agree that tax is something best not talked about over the telephone. Would Monday morning suit you, or would you prefer Wednesday afternoon? I have somebody who advises me on tax. Come on, I'll give you the lines.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Of course you do, Jenny. He mentioned that to me. I would not want to meet with you unless I thought your tax affairs were in tip-top order before I came to meet you. Would Monday morning be convenient, or would you prefer Wednesday afternoon? Well, I've got an insurance advisor, if that's what it's about. Of course you have. I would not want to meet with you unless I thought all of your insurance affairs were in order. The work we do sits above the work of the average insurance advisor. Would Monday morning suit you? Would you prefer Wednesday afternoon? Okay, that's 4 closes. Okay. Well, you might be wasting your time.
You might be wasting your time.
Do you hear what she said? Say it again loudly into the microphone.
You might be wasting your time.
You're absolutely right, Jenny. That's why I'm only setting aside 15 minutes for the first meeting. Now, would you prefer Monday morning or Wednesday afternoon? Now, look, folks, we've laughed about it. Look, firstly, I used the referrer's name. I used the referral's name. Sweetest sound a person ever hears is the sound of their own name. Makes her feel familiar. I paid her compliments. Right? Didn't I say, he spoke very highly of you? Why do I say that? Because she's waiting to see if there's another compliment coming. When she said no, she didn't know who I was. I said, oh dear, I am embarrassed. Was I embarrassed? I do this for a living. Of course I'm not embarrassed. Right. Why do I say that? Because just for a fraction of a second, she had enough sympathy to let me continue. She wasn't once tempted to cut me off. Those words are golden words. Is this being recorded? I assume it is. There's a camera there. Okay, print the words and get it out. These are golden words that have been tried and tested. Okay, the little compliment. Oh dear, I am embarrassed. Okay, the amazing thing is I've had all kinds of people phone me up and prospect me for replacement windows and new gas boiler, and they're all using my referral technique. Okay, 5 times I tried to close. There was never any aggression in anything that I said to you. Did you feel no? At no point. We've got to take all of that confrontation out of prospecting. I have no idea if there's anything we do that, listen, I was taught how do you cold call? I'm talking to greengrocers in the neighborhood and, well, I'm not interested. How do you know you won't be interested? All the other greengrocers have, no, that's not how to do it. Of course you might not be interested. That's why I'm setting aside just 15, 20 minutes for the first meeting. Mondays or Wednesdays, the important thing is how many times we close. If you close once, you will end up with maybe 2 or 3 appointments phoning 10 referrals. You close twice, you'll get 4 or 5 appointments out of 10 referrals. Close 3 times. 3 is the magic number that moves you into 5 or 6 appointments out of 10. Close 4 times, you will get 8 or 9 appointments by phoning 10 referrals. Can that be bad? It makes prospecting very economical. Always ask for referrals. Always. Don't take the objection, well, I can't think of it. We have to put in the referrers, in the client's mind, the kind of people we want to talk to. Who do you respect most who's in business? I see there's a calendar on the wall. Is this one of your suppliers? Who do you know in the firm? Who do you respect most? Do you have partners in the business? Ask. Here's an interesting one. Okay, tell your clients you'd like to meet their mothers. Because in the fact find, we should have discovered, do their parents have money? How do we discover that? Is it likely in the future there might be an inheritance, for example? Is there money in the family? It's a fair question to ask. We'll discover, I'd like to meet your parents. Why? Why do you want to meet my parents? Well, we find that we can invariably get a better return on savings for older people. And if we can get a better return on savings for your mum, firstly, she'll have a better standard of living. Secondly, if and when she needs care, she'll be less likely to need to come to you for help. And thirdly, when her time does come, hopefully not for many, many years, when her time does come, there'll be more for you and your kids to inherit. Would you introduce me to your mum? Now, I gave him 3 reasons. I gave my client 3 reasons why he should refer me to his parents. Right, but 2 of them were for him, not his mother. Less likely to call on you for financial help and more for you to inherit. Right. I gave that idea to an advisor several years ago. He said, I haven't done any investment, any single premium business in years. I said, how old are your clients? Average 45 to 55. I said, tell them you want to meet their mums. He earned £100,000 of commission in the next 30 days selling investment lump sum business to the parents of his clients. Okay, so does this stuff work? So hopefully that gives you a couple of ideas. Okay, is it easy to get referrals? No. Is it easy to get business? No. Who said the business was supposed to be easy? The business is supposed to be rewarding over time when we've worked really hard. Okay? When we've put in that apprenticeship and we've gone through those early years, the business can be incredibly rewarding. Well, whatever you do in life, there is going to be, that gives you the opportunity that this business gives us, it's not going to be easy. We've got to work at it. But the rewards can be amazing. Okay, any other questions? Oh gosh, the hands are going up now. Jack, you've had a turn, this young lady here. We'll only come back to you if we're desperate, Jack.
So it's still about the same question of getting the referral. Okay, just now the example is that Sean has given you the name Jenny, but in some cases, in fact, I've encountered quite a number of cases, when I ask for referrals, they would say, okay, when I come across a friend who would need your service, I will give it to you. So usually I will only get the passive referrals, not the active referrals on the spot.
Okay,
so
and then what happens is they immediately forget as soon as we've gone. Okay, so you say, that's very, very kind of you. And then you come back to your question. Who do you know who you respect most in business? You've got to start being specific. If you just say, who do you know might be interested in this, then they say, well, if I meet anybody who's interested, yeah, of course I'll. So you've got to start to be specific. Who do you respect most in business? Which of your colleagues, which of your friends, do you plays golf? You've discovered this. Who do you play golf with? Which of them run their own small business? He sounds like the sort of person I'd like to meet. You don't mind me using your name to help with the introduction, do you? So you've got to be specific and bring them back. It's just like very few people buy from us just because we make a presentation. They get involved, they ask questions, they maybe have little objections. We deal with those and come back to the point. It's exactly the same when asking for referrals. It's not an afterthought, it is as complex as making the sale. Okay, so all that happened then was you gave me the first objection. That's fine. So I answered that. Well, of course you would, and my clients are always phoning me up with introductions and referrals, which I really value. What I'm particularly interested in is, which of the people that you spend most of your time with run their own business? Who comes to mind? Who do you respect most in business? Who's the richest person you know? Get specific. You told me you came from a big family. You got brothers and sisters. Tell me about them. What do they do? Well, this one drives a bus. Okay, forget him. And this one, oh, but he's got his own business. Oh, he sounds like the sort of person I'd like to meet. You don't mind if I use your name to help with the introduction, do you? You've got to come back again and again and again. Nicely, until they see that you could actually say to a client, you know, look, my part in our relationship is to make sure that you know what, in my expert opinion, you should be doing financially. Now, you don't have to agree with me, but my job is to tell you. So you can never point a finger and say, I never told you. Your part of the relationship is to make sure that if I take you, now you're a client, if I've taken you off the list of my prospective clients, you've got to tell me who to replace you with. If this were an exclusive club, and being a client of mine is an exclusive club, then who do you know who's worthy of joining the club? Okay.
Mr. Tony Golden, I have a question, one last question from someone who's actively watching online. He actually asked, Really,
Okay.
this is a message.
This is the one person who is actively watching online.
One of those.
The rest
one
of
of
them
those.
have gone shopping.
One of those, yeah. So he actually asked, he's a leader. So he said, how can I get the older agents to get the fire back to be a MDRT again?
And he's the leader.
Yeah, and he has been an MDRT agent. I mean, maybe he has also had some MDRT agents for many years.
Well, the first answer is his agent here? Right. There are several answers to that. If there are leaders in the room, I make no apologies. If you want successful agents, it's not do as I do. It's not do as I say, it's do as I do. You don't necessarily have to make top of the table or core of the table or even MDRT. But your agents have to see that in the modest amount of time as a leader that you can allocate to personal sales, you are allocating some time to it and are actually bringing in business, because that earns the respect. Now, that's not really answering his question. That is a general comment. The most successful leaders can also be the most successful salespeople, and should be. How can he re-inspire? Well, I suppose I was half joking when I said, is the person he's talking about here in this room? But this is where he should be. Because if there is the slimmest chance that I might have given him a golden seed, if there's the slimmest chance that he could have picked up something from this Englishman who was here with you this morning, then why wasn't he here? So what the leader has to do is he has to expose his agent, who's now no longer enthusiastic. He has to expose him to enthusiastic people. Help him get away from those who will just bring him down. Get him away from those who are not prepared to discipline themselves and put in the effort, and get him with those people who are succeeding. Encourage him to get into a study group with other advisors, with other agents. I've been in a study group for over 40 years. There's only one of us left in the study group who's still actually active. The rest of us meet twice a year and tell jokes to each other and have lunch, right? But the fact is that we're still there inspiring each other. And there have been times when I've been down and I've been able to say to this group, I actually remember, it was when I finished being president of the UK underwriters, life underwriters, whatever you call your association here. And I was actually quite depressed. I thought, well, that's the end of that. I've got nothing else to do except go back to work. And I actually told the guys, we went round the table and I said, I'm sort of depressed. I can't get energized. And one of them said, how's business? I said, business is all right. It's just, I just can't get, I've lost my, I said, how's your wife? She said, she's fine. How are the kids? They're all right, everybody's fine. How's your health? That's absolutely terrific. So what are you complaining about? And it's all it took. So he needs to get his man exposed to people who have enthusiasm and who see this business as a great way to progress themselves, to fulfill their own potential in life. His man should be here, so should he be. Right. Okay, Jack. Okay. Oh, okay. We'll come. Jack, you will be the last question.
Yeah,
Gentleman
the last
there.
question.
I assume because this says it's all zeros, it means I've run out of time.
Just now, I think one of the things you mentioned that to reduce objection is actually to build trust. But can I just ask if there are any ways that you can, some of the things that you do to actually build trust in that short period of time, maybe in the 15 minutes where you get to introduce yourself?
There are lots of ways to help build trust. We most easily trust those people who are most like us. So firstly, you've got to ask questions that show that you're interested in them. So if you were a business owner, for example, I would ask that massive question. Tell me how you got your business to where it is today. It doesn't matter how small your business is. No business owner goes home to a wife or to a husband who says at the end of the day, well, what successes have you had today? So who asks you? Who is interested? I'm the person, you might take an hour with some prodding to answer that question. How you built your, and I am interested. So it's an interest in you. There are other more subtle things we can do. A little bit of body language. Mirroring our clients. If the client leans forward, lean forward. If the client leans back, leans back. So a little bit of mirroring, a little bit, because this person's like me. Ask them about their hobbies and their interests. Ask them about their family. Here's one for you. If your client offers you, or your prospect offers you a cup of tea, say, don't just say, oh, yes, please. Say, oh, yes. I said, you haven't got a mug, have you? Right? Because what you're actually putting yourself in is you're putting yourself in a position of familiarity. Because for formal visitors, they'll get out the china cups. But for family and friends, it'll come in mugs. So suddenly you've put yourself in the position, just little subtle things. And be interested in the client and ask them questions about themselves. And perhaps tell them a few things about you. Gosh, that's interesting. How do you do that? And be impressed if there's something there that impresses you. Don't be in a hurry to get to the sale. The longer you take in the opening, the easier will be the closing. Okay, Jack, you're last up.
Thank you for giving me the last question again. I really fascinating with your sharing. I learned a lot from the phrase that you use the most often, like are you more available on Monday afternoon or Wednesday evening? So this is something that I really pick up, one phrase that we really want to use a lot. But if you were to summarize all the many years of your career, can you share with us one phrase that you also use very often to close new prospects?
Oh. Giving financial advice, Jack, is much easier than you might think. All I have to do is ask myself a question. With all of my knowledge and experience, what would I do with my money if I was in your situation? It's not complicated. And I'd say that to a client. Giving financial advice is not complicated. I just ask myself, with all of my knowledge and experience doing this job, what would I do if I were in your circumstances? And that's what I'm suggesting you do. Okay, folks, that's it.
Thank you. Let's give another round of applause for Mr. Tony Gordon. Thank you so much for your sharing. I'm sure all of us have benefited greatly from your sharing. Okay, thank you. I think all of us are really very privileged to be here live and really be able to ask those questions, okay? Right now, let's hear from Peter Wang, one of my fellow teammates in the MDRT Vision team, as he updates the many initiatives we have for MDRT. Let's welcome Peter.
Thank you.
So handsome today with the cap, huh?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Okay, it's glad to have all of you here live and also for those of you at home. So we do have 80 days left to take action, start to have your daily goals and run for it. Okay, so I'm here to remind and also to encourage you that this month we do have a lot of initiative and also campaign that the company have to help you to encourage and to help you to run towards MDRT this year. Okay, so basically for those who are qualifying for MDRT this year, we will give you a special jacket, you see. So you can wear this jacket for all your annual meeting in USA, okay? So Faith, yeah, so this is one of the jacket that all the MDRT ambassador as well, the MDRT members should have, okay, for this year, okay? So the sample is like this jacket that I'm wearing now. So please do run for it. Okay, do a catwalk, okay, sure. It's very nice, right? So basically the requirement is just you need to achieve MDRT and register for MDRT this year, okay? Then the most important thing why I'm wearing the cap today is actually for the cruise. Wow, actually Tony can read my mind, okay? We are going on the cruise, okay? So for this month only, if let's say you qualify for 200%, okay, for this month, and you have a FYC of 5,000, you can bring one more extra partners, okay? Between, instead of one partners, you can bring 2 partners in the room, okay? Then the other things, let's say you can qualify for FYC 3,000 for those who qualify for this cruise challenge. We also throw in Penang food journey trip when the ship dock at the Penang. So it's an additional for you to really to run for this food trail journey at Penang, because Penang is well known for, you know, the Penang laksa, the char kway teow, all this. So please do run for this, okay? And for those who are going for Iceland, okay, planning to go for Iceland, just for this month only, we will give additional 50% convention production credit. You need to achieve 8,000 AMP, okay? So the AMP is capped at 50,000, so just for this month only, please do run for it. And last but not least, it's just to summarize everything. Actually, AIA have supported all of you to really to run and do well in your business. Okay, start from the creating the opportunity, as Tony has mentioned just now. Basically, AIA have a AIA Glue Health campaign, which is create the opportunity for your customer to have an incentive to see you personally. So basically, we will give the customer, if they're willing to, you know, they agree to see you, they have a choice of to get a free health screening or 1 box of a bird nest as a gift by seeing you, okay? And also we help you in, you know, to closing your sales as well. Because at this quarter, we do have a promotion under the AIA Globe Future promotion, which is, let's say we give an example here, GPP of 10,000 a year, the customer will enjoy 18% discount. As well, the customer can also have a GIA option to purchase our health shield plan for the children. As well, for those customers who have bought saving of 2, they can enjoy up to 4.25% if they are buying the plan as well. So what's in it for you guys is actually for this month, you can clock in 50% convention credit for Iceland, and then early bird of cruise to 100%. As well, if you're running for the Prestige Club, you can get, you know, clock in for your ANP, affluent ANP, as well discount, as well the Penang trip when the ship dock at Penang. Okay, so it's time for us to run to win. As Dr. Tony Gordon say, if Tony can do it, so you can. Okay, I wish you all the best to achieve your MDRT, COT, and TOT. Okay, all of you can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. We have come to the end of today's program. I know all of us will put into use what we have learned today to achieve our MDRT, COT, or even TOT this year. For those of you who are physically here today for today's event, please proceed to Champion 2 if you would like to purchase Mr. Tony Gordon's book. For those online, thank you for joining us. And this is Elise signing off. Thank you very much.